Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be introducing to you the tool that we'll be using for this semester called Figma, as well as walking through a few of the features that it has, as well as showing you the various account types and which ones will be most useful for us this semester. So to start, I'd like you to come to any browser and place into the browser window there figma.com. That'll bring you to this website, and this is where we will sign up. Before we do, let me introduce you to the platform. If you start here, you'll notice the first thing you'll see is this thing, FigJam. I just want to call this out. This is a second product put together by Figma. This is their online whiteboarding tool. And we will not be using FigJam in this class in any way. So if you actually scroll down, most of this is actually advertisement for FigJam. So on the home page here, you can ignore most of all this, and we're just going to sort of step through what we have here. In terms of product, I'm going to step you through design, prototyping, design systems, and downloads. Enterprise, you do not have to worry about unless you are a large company and you have large design teams that you want to get a better price on. We will be setting our up account over here in pricing. Under community, there are going to be files and templates and best practices and plugins. This is a good resource, so just know that this is here. And over in company, there's the company blog, their careers and their story and just general things about the company and the platform. So let's start over here with design. Figma, just so you know, is an online tool. It's very similar to Adobe Illustrator if you're familiar with working with vectors. However, unlike Adobe Illustrator or Adobe XD or Sketch, Figma actually runs in the browser. It's cloud-based, so you will log into Figma either in their desktop app or in the browser. They're the same thing, and you will log into essentially your cloud account and you'll be designing directly in the browser or in the desktop app. Again, they are the same thing. But let's just take a look at what we have here. In under design, Figma is the only platform that brings together powerful design features that you already love and more into an efficient workflow. They have very nice vector tools. This was built for the future of the web. That's why you'll see features you won't see anywhere else. Modern pen tools, draw in any direction with vector networks, no merging or needing to connect paths original points. Instant arc designs, you can design clocks, watches, screens, pie charts easily with the arc tool. You can be expressive with open type. You can tap into advanced font features and fully express your brand, create custom fonts, all of that good stuff. You can design responsively with auto layout. Spend less time iterating, more time moving things around, less manual resizing. Buttons can resize their text and lists can arrange themselves while items are being moved around. This is very important, particularly if we're developing for a mobile website or app. Everything these days should be responding to the width of the browser in a responsible way. Um, Stretch to fit. Auto layout components can now stretch left or right, top or bottom for easy responsive design. Design speaks to development. Auto layouts, padding, directions, spacing settings translate directly into code to simplify for developer handoffs. So that's another advantage of this working in the browser. It is already designed to work with websites and web applications that are also in the browser. So when you are working with larger development teams, this helps move the process along very nicely because it's essentially speaking the same language. Automate and augment your work with plugins. There is a robust community and plugin network for Figma. So there's a number of features that you might want that Figma doesn't necessarily have by default, but you can often find those features in plugins that the community has put together, and we'll walk through a lot of that. They've got plugins for stock imagery, flow diagrams, color accessibility, charts, icons. You can build a website, you can build a plugin. Private plugins, organizations, like actual, if you had an enterprise account, organization customers can create and distribute private plugins within their company. That's also not going to be covered in this class, but it's very interesting that this has that ability if one were to need it. Here's just a little praise about how it helps minimize the busy work, and essentially it's a very good design tool in that regard. It's very well organized and it's very easy to navigate and communicate. You can be efficient and consistent. We have flexible styles. Figma has style libraries, which you can create color, text, grid, or effects, apply them to any object across your projects, meaning you'll have a library of colors and typography, and for as many pages as you have, you can apply the same consistent library of colors and typography, etc., not just through multiple pages, but through multiple projects. You can share these color and typography libraries with other team members, and you can start sharing libraries, which is also a wonderful advantage with this. Design systematically, speed up design with components, edit and overwrite on the fly. Components will also become very important in how we learn to reuse and maximize our work by having reusable components and being able to change those components from a single source that will propagate through the rest of our designs. And accessible libraries, you can do a quick search to find the assets that you're looking for, simply drag and drop them into the file. So once we've developed a component library, design actually becomes very easy in terms of almost just dragging and dropping, and you can just build pages very quickly. Turn developer handshake into a handoff. With Figma, we can bring developers into the process early and often and let them get the specs and assets they need. If you see here, there's actually a code window where the elements that we are designing will actually have corresponding CSS properties over in the side panel. So if you were working with a team, this is where we can communicate palette and typography settings, position left and right, and that sort of thing. These are the benefits of working with cloud software. That's an important distinction. You can access these files anywhere with internet access. You never have to save these files. Every time you make an edit, it is automatically saved. Goodbye PDFs and outdated exports, meaning we can actually share Figma files directly. We do not have to export a PDF. We do not have to export a JPEG or a PNG that shows our designs. We can have the Figma file as a URL directly sent to our product owners, our development teams, other designers, anybody who needs to see it. It's as easy as sharing a URL. And worry-free editing and collaboration with version history. This is very important. If you've ever had to save, Photoshop file 11 and then Photoshop 11B and then Photoshop 11C and then Photoshop 12A and always having to save new versions, because there is an autosave, they actually have a version history in there, and you can actually step through yesterday's version if you made a mistake today and actually rewind very nicely through several days or months or any activity on the project. And if we come back up to that top menu, prototyping. We're going to be prototyping while we design. So as we're actually designing the look and feel of this, we are essentially prototyping at the same time compared to other platforms where that becomes two steps. One of the other things that is really advantageous about Figma is that in this one web cloud-based program, we can design and prototype in the same action. So we don't have to double our efforts by using multiple pieces of software or importing or exporting. It's all right here. Bring your ideas to life with animated prototypes. Test concepts early and often. Create a better blueprint for development. We will create prototypes that feel like a real experience. We will simply connect UI elements and choose the interactions or animations. We will define the interactions like on click, while on hovering, while pressing a button, and more. Details like device frame and momentum scrolling will make your prototypes feel real. Very, very presentable. They've put a lot of good work into making these prototypes really feel like a phone or a website or what you were expecting to experience. Show and don't tell your interactive vision. Advanced transitions with Smart Animate. So these are going to be all of your sliding and your fading, and they're all very easily found just within the Figma interface as you are prototyping from frame to frame. Automatically animate similar objects and create detailed transitions. Create multiple layers of interactive content overlays and animated GIFs to represent motion designs and video elements and subtle animations. We'll step through all of the fancy animation parts, and that's always a fun part of the course. Here's another piece of praise. We're constantly building, testing, and iterating. Being able to pull a prototype together in Figma so quickly and easily is massive for us. That is one of the things, if you've never used Figma before, you will find it is amazing how quickly you can put together a full web page, web app prototype, uh, you know, a full project in less than a day. It's really amazing. Do this all in one single tool. All in one platform. We can toggle between your design and your live prototype. Design edits appear instantly in your prototype. There's no saving, no uploading, no nothing, and they're just right there. Shareable prototype. We will share a link to your prototype, and you can view it anywhere on the internet. We can embed commenting. Comment in the prototype. So if you're working with a team, they can just place comments. This needs to be addressed a little bit to the left. This should be the correct red. And these carry over into the designs file so nothing gets lost. Other ways to use these Figma prototypes, you can observe test subjects in research sessions. You can create presentation slides to pitch your work. I'll call out this one in particular because Figma is a far better presentation tool than any PowerPoint slide I've ever seen. So if you do any PowerPoint, I'd recommend trying Figma. It's a wonderful presentation tool. We can interact with live prototypes in a Notion or Dropbox. We won't be doing any of this, but it's very nice to know that it's there. And we can integrate with third-party prototype tools. Again, just scrolling back up to the top, we'll check out design systems. Design systems, if you've never used one before, is a way of making reusable components, say like a button. We make one master button, and then we will have instances of that button throughout our design. So we can make a change to the original, and that will propagate the change through the entire design simply by making one change in one place rather than having to update, 4 dozen buttons on 2 dozen pages, that sort of thing. So power up your design system with Figma. Build libraries that are always up to date, aligned with code, and easy to evolve as you grow. Increase your design consistency with a powerful design system that is accessible to your entire company. You have searchable assets, and you can drag and drop components directly into your file. So if you create a header or a icon, as is shown here, there's a library you simply drag and drop. So designing becomes almost dragging and dropping to assemble pages once you have the key elements that you know you want to use. Shareable styles. We can create styles that anyone can use and apply to any project. So if you're working on teams, as mentioned, this is a collaborative piece of software. So multiple designers can work on the same project or just in the same design house and share a library of icons or a color palette very easily just by sharing libraries. Everything in one place. We are going to publish libraries filled with all of your shareable assets, icons, backgrounds, images, fonts, and more. So again, with the collaborative nature of this, very easy to share anything that is useful for anybody that you're working with. Figma gives us tools to create an expansive design system and distribute to our design teams all around the world. So this is very collaborative. As you get into a professional setting, you could be working remotely with any number of designers anywhere, and this makes the communication far better than emailing Photoshop files or anything like that. Your teams share the same language. We will have reusable components to implement consistent designs with shared elements that are intuitive to use and easy to swap. That way, we're not recreating the same card here every single time. And if we make changes to the original, it will update through the other instances of this original component. This is aligned with code. Create responsive components that map closer to code, making developer handoff more seamless. Also very useful for large teams. In this class, we won't be working directly with any developers, but it's very nice to know that you are learning the correct practices for when you do work with developers. Copy code in Go. We can inspect the files, review the documentation, quickly find values developers need to build out features. So if your color palette has a number of hex codes, it's very easy to share those with all the elements on the page with any developer, and it's very easy to communicate. This is our primary red, this is our H1, and basically all the styling information that the developers would need to implement your designs. Everybody in every project is looking for a single source of truth. The exact same components that are the exact same version in the same tool. That's what Figma does for a design system, and it does it very well. As we get into this, you'll start to see more and more of how useful and powerful that is. Figma scales with your ever-evolving design system and growing team, so you can constantly iterate and grow depending on your project's needs. You can refine, publish, and track, make updates to your components, styles, assets. Rest assured that the changes are recorded in a detailed version history. Build with structure and scale, add structure and bring order to the most complex of growing systems. This really does help keep design projects from growing out of control, which, as we all know, they tend to do from time to time. Uh, Control user permission, manage who can view and edit and contribute to team libraries. So again, talking about sharing, you can control who can and cannot access your files, who can and cannot edit your files. It's very useful for large teams or even small teams, just being able to share. Scrolling back to the top, let's take one last look at downloads. Here under downloads, you will see a few applications that you can download to enhance your Figma practice. At the moment, you will not necessarily need to download a desktop app. You may download the desktop app for either Mac or Windows. You're welcome to do so. However, just know that the desktop app is actually an icon that will sit on your desktop. But when you launch it, it is essentially a wrapper around a browser. So the Figma experience that you have in the browser and the Figma experience you have in the desktop app is essentially the same thing. Some people like it, some people don't use it. We will definitely be using the browser, but you are welcome to download the desktop app. There is also something called Figma Mirror, which allows you to preview these designs in a actual live device, which again, you can look on your phone at a browser and it's very much the same. So you are welcome to download Figma Mirror, but it's really not much more than a live device preview. It's very good for presentation, but it's not functionally useful for doing designs. It's more of a for handing somebody a phone, but you can also do that just with the link in the browser on the phone. So the other thing here is the font installers. One of the first things we'll be doing is installing the plugin to leverage the desktop fonts that you have. As mentioned, this is a piece of browser-based software, and we will install a plugin which will allow it to access whatever fonts you have on your desktop if you want to set up custom fonts. Alternatively, Figma comes with a number of just default web-safe fonts, but for your designs, you might want to have a broader range of design options for your typography. And so we'll install a plugin, and it'll allow you to leverage whatever fonts and typography you have available on your desktop. And there you have it. So with that, let's take a look at pricing.